Here with reaction to today's horrific assassination. Fox News contributors Joe Concha, Guy Benson, Project 21 chairman Horace Cooper. Joe, let's get your reaction. Your expertise is in the media arena. We played earlier MSDNC, some of the headlines, some of the commentary leading up to the event. You know, right-wing extremist. He was not an extremist. If you support Donald Trump, does not by definition make you an extremist.
Absolutely not. I mean, I think many young conservative young adults, Sean, will remember this day and know exactly where they were when they heard that Charlie was shot and or killed. Know this, Charlie Kirk will go down as one of the great patriots of the 21st century and perhaps of all time in this country. When you think about what he decided to do at age 18, Sean, to start this movement of Turning Point USA, literally from scratch. And this wasn't somebody who shouted people down, to your point, or believed in censorship. He would engage in debates with those who disagree with him in these great, they're called prove me wrong debates. You could go on social media if you want to watch them sometime because they're great. But more and more, it seems there are people in this country who have no interest in debate. But in silencing those they disagree with through censorship, violence, and in this case, death. We've seen too many Democrats say that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, or in the words of Representative Dan Goldman of New York, a man who should be, quote, eliminated, or James Comey, a former FBI director, spelling out 8647 in the sand, putting it up on social media, which clearly implies to take out the 47th president, or President Biden saying 4 days before Donald Trump was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania, that Trump, quote, needed to be put in a bullseye. So, look, the bottom line is that when the Matthew Dowds of the world on MSNBC, who is a profoundly horrible human being, actually blaming Charlie Kirk after he's dead, the same way that Matthew Dowd blamed Donald Trump after his assassination attempts for, in Dowd's mind, bringing it on themselves, therefore they deserved it, or saying that a Trump supporter was maybe celebrating in the moment and accidentally shot Charlie because he was celebrating at this thing. I'm sorry. This is utterly delusional. And Matthew Dowd, there are reports now that he has been fired. He won't be back on the air. He shouldn't be back on television in general. Good. That's a good first start. But there's too much rhetoric right now that we're seeing from the left that is leading to these situations like we saw with Ryan Ruth, who literally was outside of the sixth hole of Trump International in Palm Beach and literally had a manifest that said Donald Trump is a threat to democracy and I need to take him out. Words have consequences here. I'm sorry.
Guy, let's get your thoughts.
Well, I mean, it's sickening. It's still difficult to process. It's almost unimaginable that we're talking about Charlie Kirk in the past tense. He was this dynamic, almost larger-than-life figure in a lot of ways, very charismatic guy who built a movement from the ground up. I mean, Joe was just mentioning Charlie back when he was 18 years old. I met Charlie years before that when he was a teenager living in Illinois, starting this little tiny organization. And you see what he's been able to create out of that and the legacy that he leaves behind in terms of politics, in terms of his professional life. You know, he asked my advice. I mentioned this to Brett Baer, our colleague earlier, Sean. He asked my advice back when I was in my early 20s and he was in his teens about going to college. Was it worth it? Should he pursue a degree? And I gave him kind of traditional advice. I think you should go get that degree. You can get involved in this stuff when you graduate. And he was very respectful and polite about it. But luckily for everyone, he completely ignored my advice because he was cut out for something different, something more, something bigger. And that's precisely what he spent his entire adult life building. And I know that movement will go on. It will outlive him. I think it will be energized. It will be galvanized because of what happened, this act of unspeakable evil today. But, Sean, what I can't get out of my head today is that video we've been playing on our air, that just impossibly heartbreaking video of Charlie's little daughter at Fox and Friends when he was hosting one morning, coming into the studio to hug him. That little girl doesn't have a dad now, and same applies to her little brother and Charlie's wife Erica. It's going to take a long time to pick up these pieces, and it's just gut-wrenching.
Horace?
This changes everything. COVID cost a lot of lives, cost a lot of money, but in a few years, America was back to America. What this feels like is like September 11th. We changed after that horrific event. I regret that as a 30-something that I didn't join the military to fight for my country and to seek the justice that was deserved. But I tell you here and now, I will not back down. Free speech is worth it. Charlie Kirk's life is worth it. We all must agree to join the effort to stand up. The norms that the left have violated, they compound and they compound. And here is where we are. We're not going to be able to go to football games and have simple things. We're not going to be able to. A lot of change is going to occur because of this evil act.
Well said, Horace Cooper. I appreciate all of you. Joe, Guy, Horace, thank you.